Okay, so we will start. Passa sol, passa chuva e passa vento, o sol não passa movimento, ciranda pra rodar. O cirandeiro, cirandeiro. You can clap with your hands if you like. Yes, very good. O cirandeiro, cirandeiro, a pedra do teu amigo brilha mais do que o sol. Vai fazer uma caça de vaca e maneirinha no vento possa levar. Que passa sol, passa chuva e passa vento, o sol não passa movimento, ciranda pra rodar. Que passa sol, passa chuva, passa vento, o sol passa movimento, ciranda pra rodar. O cirandeiro, a pedra do teu amigo brilha mais do que o sol. O cirandeiro, a pedra do teu amigo brilha mais do que o sol. Wow, thank you very much. Huh? Nice clapping. Through slavery, because as you know, many slaves from Africa, they were brought to Brazil. So they were suffering so much and they were so sad that they decided, no, we will not live like this. We will be happy even if we are slaves. So they start to making many traditions that they dance in circle, and one of those traditions is the ciranda. So whoever practices the ciranda, it's called cirandero. This is the name of the song. So it says cirandero, the stone of his ring shines more than the sun. So that means the cirandero is very great when he dances, because even the stone of his ring shines more than the sun. So this song speaks a lot about the meanings of the nature through their harvest in the land. It's some kind of songs for a farmer as well. So we are just about to start. Ear and nose, yes. Do you got it? No? Okay, we will do slower version, Willem bit, you know? Okay, but very slow, okay? So, who? But this is not completely true. Because in the darkest days of winter, some amazing phenomena appear in the sky, which are called Aurora Borealis, or also known as Northern Lights. The Northern Lights are green, purple, and red, and they dance to a side to another in the sky, mesmerizing all the humans. But long time ago, some tribes of the world, they were really afraid of the Northern Lights. Every time they saw the Northern Lights, they thought it was evil spirits who were come to get their souls. So every time the Northern Light was dancing in the sky, they would hide in their huts because they were so afraid. But some other tribes, they didn't thought the same thing. They were thinking that the Northern Light, it was the Creator which was living in the north of the world. He was making a big, big fire. And the sparks of this fire, they were flying in the sky, transforming in Northern Lights. And they were taking this as a sign that the Creator will always remember them. But in other stories, the waves of the Northern Lights flies in the skies. And from this amazing wave, a small drop of Northern Light land in the middle of a very, very big forest, full of snow, full of pine trees. And this drop land in the trunk of a birch tree. Have you heard of a birch tree by chance? Which color is a birch tree? Huh? You said the answer?
Green.
Green? No.
Green.
Gray, yes, there is gray, there is red, and there is white. This birch tree was white. And just at the trunk, in a small cocoon, like a cocoon of butterfly, there started to grow a little girl. And after 9 days, she was already born. She was already the age of 7 years old. She had an amazing smile and big eyes that in the deepness of her eyes one could see the Northern Lights shining. In the middle of the forest, she was playing with the foxes, with the wolf, with the trees, and singing with the birds. But after some time, she thought, am I the only human? She was feeling lonely, you know? She wanted to play with other kids and speak with people, but there was no one in the forest. And very far, she could see some smoke coming out the chimneys. And she thought, oh, maybe there's a village. Maybe there's some people living there. So she went running to this village. And she arrived by the evening. And there she was in the windows of the houses, spying the humans. Spying how the mother tells stories to their children. How the humans share together, how they laugh together. And not so long after this, the human of the village noticed that every evening there was a little girl who was spying them in the window. Who was this little girl? So they decide to adopt the small little girl in the village. And some of them noticed that in the deepness of her eyes, one could see the shining northern lights. So they decided to call her Aurora. What was her name? Aurora. Yes. So Aurora became at the service of all the village. She was helping in the farm to plant, to harvest. She was helping to feed the children, to give back to the older people. Day and night, she was working. As the seasons were passing, summer, autumn, the winter were slowly arriving. And she was slowly, getting weaker and weaker. Her energy was going away because she had been working so much. And one day came that she was completely sick. She was in the bed all day long. No one could do nothing for her. They were bringing all sorts of medicine, but nothing was working. The whole villager were worried. What are we gonna do about Aurora? We love her so much. Oh my God. And then one morning came. She listened some noise in her window. And as she opened her eyes, in the window was standing a one-legged crow. And the crow started to speak to her. Ah! Aurora, you little girl, you held all the village. And you forgot about yourself. Now you are very sick. Who is going to help you? Ah! The little girl, oh my God, this crow is speaking. But tell me, what I have to do? Ah, Aurora! The medicine that you need is lying there on the same tree that you were born. Oh yes, but I don't even remember where is this tree. It's such a long time ago. Ah, I can take you there, just follow me. So Aurora put her boots, her glove, her scarf, and her hat. And she went into the forest, following the crow to get back to the place where she was born. So they crossed many rivers, valleys, and mountains. And after many days, they finally arrived to the birch tree where Aurora was born. And then Aurora asked the crow, so what am I supposed to do? There is a tree, so... And the crow told her, just feel the tree. All what you need is lying there on the trunk of the tree. So she put her hands on the tree. And she started to feel the skin of the tree all around. And suddenly, she felt something which was coming out of the tree. It was all black, and it looked like a stone. And she touched it, and it started to vibrate. And the crow told her, Aurora, this is the medicine you will need. It's called Shada. What is the name? Every time before you take it out of the tree, you will have to ask permission to the tree, because he is a being as well. Oh. So she put her hands on the tree. She asked the permission to the tree. And then she removed the... And then a sound started to ring. This is the sound you will have. And they keep following this sound until they arrive to a birch tree. with the one-legged crow standing on the branches. Who was the tree? Aurora. So the one-legged crow gave the same instruction to the human that he gave to Aurora. Which was the first instruction? To ask permission. Which is the second instruction? Sing the song. And the third one? To take the promise. So the humans were thinking about the promise, and they thought, do we take this promise? It's quite a big responsibility, to take care of the nature, It's a big engagement. But they decided to agree. They agreed to take the promise. But still today, we are not sure if they fulfilled their promise completely. But you have in your hands the chance to fulfill this promise. While you're growing in life, the responsibility belongs to all of us. As the story came, as the story goes, as the northern light came flying in the sky, as it goes back to other places. So the stories will never end and will continue traveling in our hearts. Thank you very much.